Pleasure to be here this morning. I'm so excited to be here with this distinguished group of individuals who really are trying to change the future of our country by changing our energy policy. I'm trying to do my job as your United States Senator, and obviously I want to keep doing that job. So first of all, I hope everybody's getting the vote out for November 7th so that everybody is in the same boat when it comes to getting a new energy policy for America. And that what we really want is to change the course by changing the agenda in Washington and getting the ability to bring up my bill, the Clean Edge bill, a bill that has the sponsorship of 42 United States senators that really is about changing the agenda. It's about getting a legislation that says stop the incenting of the fossil fuel industry and instead take those incentives and incent the new technologies that these gentlemen just talked about. Now, why is that so important? Well, one of the reasons why it's so important is because right now, while these technologies are starting to take off and starting to get investment, they're still at a disadvantage given the huge amount of resources that are given to the fossil fuel industry. It's about $13 billion every 5 years in tax dollars. Now, many of you might have turned on the TV this morning and saw that yesterday Exxon posted its second record profits in the history of its company, and today Chevron broke the, I think it was the 5 billion mark or so, mark on what they had never posted before as record profits. So the oil industry is continuing to make record profits, and we still give them tax incentives. We also give them royalty relief, which is we give them incentives to drill in areas that it's believed hard for them to get oil product, and yet that was done at a federal level when we thought oil was at $17 a barrel. There's no reason why we should keep incenting them at $60 a barrel or some of the prices that we've seen. So this really is about switching the priorities. The second thing that happens when you shift that priorities is that you accelerate the opportunity. Companies like Vestas, who is in the Northwest here, when you tell them that the tax credits are only there for 2 years or 3 years, it's hard to plan for the future. So consequently, even though the demand for wind power in the Northwest is so great, you can't even keep pace with the amount of wind turbines because there's a waiting list already. And why is there a waiting list? Why doesn't somebody just build a manufacturing facility in the United States or have more rapid deployment? Well, the reason why they don't is because they're not sure about those tax credits and when they're only there for 2 years. So part of the Cantwell legislation is to give those tax credits a longer horizon period of time, between 5 and 10 years, so that we can have the predictability to make the investments in the technologies that we know will really help our country. Now, what have we seen already? We've seen Columbia County, one of the poorest counties in our state, end up getting $1 million in local tax revenue from wind generation. We see in Kittitas County a wind generation farm there that is producing enough power for 70,000 homes in the Puget Sound area. And we see in Clickatack County how they are having a wind overlay and becoming one of the first places in the country to produce wind generation on a grand scale by making sure that their land use planning coincides with wind generation. So we are on the cutting edge here in the Northwest. And right here in Vancouver, there were 28,000 new longshoreman job hours created by being the hub and center of moving these wind turbines through this area to the state of Washington. So you bet I want Clark College to be a leader at focal point for energy and energy technology. And what we have here too, I know I saw Mr. Ogden. I don't know if he had to step out for a second. I know people here in this part of our state understand our rich tradition with hydropower and affordable electricity. Well, it's like taking that heritage and going the next step. It's basically saying how important it is to keep affordable energy and renewable energy. And the big opportunity that we have with these renewables is it's almost like the internet. It's a distributed network. That is, that power can be put. Instead of building a big power plant, a coal plant or something in the middle of the region and then trying to get the source all the way to other people, that now you can have these smaller sources of energy generated and put onto the electricity grid. Well, for us, we want that to be a very smart grid. And because the Northwest, we already have software, we have communications technology, we have networking technology, there's a big opportunity for us to be leaders in what is called smart grid efficiency. Now that sounds kind of techy, but really what the bottom line is, two things. One, it gives you the ability to then have the appliances and the consumers to say, well, I'm leaving my house today, turn my dishwasher on at the lowest megawatt rate. That way you could save money. And that's what's really important here, is to help consumers know when and how they can consume cheaper electricity. But secondly, there are estimates that we could get double-digit savings out of the current capacity that we have, the amount of electricity that we have, if we really had a smart grid and network to move it around efficiently and empower the consumers more. So it's a great way for us to conserve. So we want to be leaders in this. And again, we want Clark College to play a leading role in it, and obviously want Joel's new energy movement to study and analyze ways to do this. The Rocky Mountain Institute, which is a leading think tank in our country, was asked this question: what do we do to get off of our overdependence on foreign oil? Which right now we're about 50% dependent on these countries like Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, people I don't want to depend on. I don't want to depend on them for our future oil supply, and I don't want to keep buying resources from them. I don't want to be 60% dependent. Well, the Rocky Mountain Institute has said if we take and incent instead these new alternative fuels, that you could reduce by 40% by doing two things: alternative fuels and lighter weight materials. You could reduce 40% our dependency on foreign oil. Now that's what the Cantwell bill says. Let's take in the next 20 years, let's make by 2020, let's start a path where we are reducing our consumption of foreign oil and starting to head in the right direction. So what we're doing in my legislation is to say that we are to incent alternative fuels like biodiesel and ethanol. And if we incent them instead of, again, the incentives that are given to the fossil fuel industry, we can be on the right track of having Great Western Malting and other companies produce a product that people can choose to have in their cars here in the United States. Now, the key thing is to get flex fuel cars like the country of Brazil did, which cars can run on either. They're not magic cars. They're GM and Ford cars made by U.S. manufacturers. It only costs about $100 more to make a car that runs on either fossil fuel or on ethanol, and we could be producing those. So wouldn't that be a great American story for the next generation, to say our generation helped produce an energy strategy, an energy policy that reduced our dependence on foreign oil and created new technologies and incentives so that the United States could be energy leaders instead of where we are today, which is energy laggards. Now, the other reason why this is so important from an international perspective is we're constantly seeing China gobble up all of this energy. They are almost having a mercantilist, going to countries and trying to get their energy source and capturing that energy source for their growth. They add as much power every week, almost like the country of Spain, to their electricity grid. That's how much they're growing, but they're adding coal-powered facilities, which obviously are causing some of the highest levels of pollution around the globe. So wouldn't it be great if right here in Vancouver, Washington, this technology that we're all talking about in a collaborative fashion, not only was technology that we produced for the United States, but we actually exported it to China as well and captured the millions of people there who are in great need of energy and energy solutions too. So there's a huge opportunity here. It's a huge opportunity to leave our planet without the CO2 emissions that we're having today. It's a great opportunity for us to create jobs, and it's a great opportunity for us to have a better foreign policy. But I want to be back in the United States Senate so we can bring this legislation up. And I will just say this about that process. For the last year, the Democrats have wanted to bring this bill to the floor. We have wanted to be able to pass this legislation and have a more serious attempt at energy policy, and we've been thwarted. So I hope that we will have the resources and the votes and the will of the American people behind us to support this legislation so we can really get on what I think is a great, great opportunity for America to reinvigorate our economy, to be leaders in great technology, and to have ourselves looked back on by the next generation and say, you know, they were pretty good stewards of our environment too. They really made some smart decisions to take care of our planet and to move our country forward. So that's why we're here today, and we're going to continue to get that message out. So if you can just take a snippet of this and take that to your friends and neighbors